Today we're in Wickliffe, Ohio on a field trip with the Cleveland Haunt Club to take a tour of the amazing creature shop Xtreme Creators, owned and operated by custom prop builder extraordinaire John Merk. And I think it's just around this corner where John Merk brings the monsters and animatronics to life. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, that's what you just seen. I have an identical one that I started right over there. That's in the process. Right. This is Distortions. Anybody familiar with Distortions? This is their design. This is their dinosaur. I restored it. I got it in on a trade for work. So I make them a monster. They give me a monster and some money, that kind of thing. This guy right here was actually my first foam creature, animatronic wise. Because nobody at that time that I know of built any monster out of styrofoam. He's back now this year. He's 7 years old. As you can see, he got hit by a truck, actually. He's got busted fingers. One of his leg got blown off. But other than that, he's good to go. This is the one I'll start operating. I only took one movement off of him. This arm raises up and it swings all the way there. He'd wipe out this whole area. So I took out that action. So you guys want to see him move? Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Let me give him air. He gets bigger.
Escrito espugnare, de English and buried in inferno ingranables.
Now, not only is he back for a restore, they can only afford so much when they purchase him, but he also gets like 6 skeletons on him, 1 in his hand, 2 crawling up his body, 1 sitting on his back, a giant casket on his back with another skeleton on top of that. And all those guys move. These guys I got off one of my friends that has a haunt. I go, yeah, I'll look at anything you got. If it's 20 years old, I don't care. If it's rusted, I'll replace it steel, sandblast it, whatever I need to do. But we couldn't find these things. They look like rocks in all the tall grass. And I don't know if I want to change it. Because they look pretty good. Just make all his inside new. And maybe leave him the way it is. But this has been in here for 3 years, and I thought the moss would go away. It's still good. Yeah, we've got another one right here. This I got from the darkness. We're going to turn him into a different character. I like restoring a lot of things. So when I got nothing to do, I'll hop on something like that. Same thing with this. This is from Distortions. It's the Sleeping Giant. He was outside for a long time. So I think we're going to turn him into a Krampus. Oh, yeah. But his mechanics and everything are pretty good, pretty good. So let me explain how we do this. Okay, I already explained to you how I get a picture, I put it onto the transparency, blow it up to the size I want, and once I got that picture, I transfer it onto the Tyvek, this stuff, and then I cut it all out. I cut it all out in parts. Okay, it's hard to see the parts to this right now because we got them glued together, but for instance, this eyebrow was one part. That eyebrow was one part. This forehead was one part. The nose was also one part, I think I got the part right here. That's the nose. So once you got it drawn on the foam, you just trace it out with the hot wire, and I'll show you that in a second. But you also got to do the profile of the nose, which is this part. That's the only one you really have to do. The rest of them, now picture, when I make this, it's all transferred to this. This is like 6 inches thick. I lay that down, I trace all my parts on there, and I cut them out. Now I have a puzzle. I have eyes, I have this, I have the cheek, I have the lips, I have the teeth. So what I do is, like, if you look at the forehead right now, I made a cut right here and I tilted those in. You see that? Then I glue it in that position. Okay? I'll lay it on the floor, I'll pull out the nose, so the nose is high, I'll push in the eyes, I'll bring the cheeks out, but I'll leave the cheeks back there, and I'll raise the top of the cheeks to the level of the nose. Once I get in that position, I'll spot with foam glue real quick, just so it holds it. Then I'll go behind it and reinforce it with more foam and more glue. But I used to take blocks that were this thick and start digging. The first thing that's gonna pop out is this nose because it's the highest. Now I have to dig from here all the way down there to get to that eyeball. That's the way I used to do it. Now all I do is I make puzzle pieces. They're all puzzle pieces. And I raise them up and I put them at the levels that they all need to be. I'll step back, I'll look at it, and I'll just start walking around with the foam glue. Boom, it's frozen in its spot. And then I'll start rounding all this stuff up. I'll start hiding all the gaps in it. And then after that's done, you got options. You can go ahead and paint it right off the bat. You can coat it with something like fiberglass. They have all kinds of different coatings you can put on this. Like I said, that red one is done with a commercial roofing material. And it seems pretty good. So yeah, you can see we're starting the horns right here. So I'll dig a hole and set those in there. The tools that we use, the main tool that I use, is that right there? Anybody know what that is?
Horse brush.
I carve all this. And you know, if I want it thinner, I'll grind it so it's a thin one. See how that's thin? And I'll use that. I use, that's like a coping saw to make miter cuts and stuff for like drawers and stuff like that. Some people like knives, I don't. I like the saw. And the saw, I can curve it and almost cut anything out, you know what I mean? My other main tool, here, if I can go right back here real quick, is this right here. Once I get the picture drawn on the foam, I use this for everything, this shape right here. Technically, you can shape this like a molding, like a crown molding, and go over a board, and boom, you got a crown molding. As soon as I draw out all his lines, I'll go in here and I'll start digging in. I'll start digging in. I'll start digging in all his lines, just like you're outlining a cartoon picture. Once I got those lines in, then I'll start digging, and then it just starts coming to you. It really does, whether you know how to do it or not. I think this is a simple way for a beginner to start. You're gonna blow your own mind. I might start classes next year on how to do this, where you come in and you'll be able to walk home with your own sculpture, but I haven't seen anybody do this yet, this way, and other than grabbing a big foam block and start digging and digging and digging. This took me 6 hours to get to this step.
Whoa.
Right.
I was gonna say.
And once I fiberglass this and paint it, it's probably gonna be a week, week and a half total into it. That'll sell from $7 to $8 grand.
Where do you buy the giant pieces of foam?
Well, in our area, you can find it anywhere. I mean, just Google EPS foam billet, and there's a bunch of places. I have a place here 15 minutes from me, Painesville. It's called American Foam Products. So I get it from there. Yeah.
John, what adhesive do you do for the different blocks?
Just Lowe's, Home Depot spray foam.
That's
I really don't like it. I mean, it's good for gluing it together, but when it comes to the surface like this, that can haunt you all the way to paint because it's furry, you know? So a lot of times I'll dig that down past the surface and I'll put joint compound in there. And joint compound ain't good for weather, but I'll still do it on something that goes outside because I'm putting fiberglass or a plastic over that. So all that does is help me get rid of all these lines and stuff.
How do you mount that onto like a building practically?
Okay, well this one doesn't have it, but the head over there does because I'm not at that stage yet. Is I flip them down, I'll throw 2 pieces of plywood on them, and I trace this whole outline on the back, and I jigsaw that out. But I also, I do have another tool. That same gun I can attach to this. And this is made, what I'll do is I'll put a foam board on it and I'll make his back totally flat. Then I dig a trench in him and I embed 2x4s in there. And I spray foam the 2x4s in there, I make a frame all in there, and then I screw the plywood to that. And then, once they put it up to the building, they screw from the building inside into him, boom, he's up.
So when you're applying that rubber outer coating, is that like a spray-on product, or is it a?
You can spray it, you can roll it on, that was brushed on. Yeah.
How many, like one coat?
No, I put about 3 coats on that.
What coating is that?
It's any kind of rubberized rubber membrane that says 30 years on it. But the only thing I would say about that, see if you get a sample of it. So you can like try put magic marker on it, watercolors, all kind of different paints to make sure your paint's gonna stick to it. The red was painted on with a brush. Then all the black was airbrushed, and that's it. A little bit of yellow, done. That was probably painted in hour and a half.
Is that the stuff that you put on your roofs and stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
Here's the horse comb on the demo.
Yep.
Parts of the demo.
The whole thing. Because once after I do this and I dig in all these lines, which was all my magic marker lines of the character, then I just start going like this inside those lines. And like I said, you might want to get a couple of these because one, I take out a ring or 2 and I make it thin right here so I can really get in there. And that's it. Say this piece was off. See where it was cut? Yeah. When I put the glue on it, it expands, so that part's it wants to separate or slide or move around. So I'll put spikes in it to hold it in a spot. But for this one, I wouldn't use a spike like that. I'd probably use like 4-inch screw. I use a bunch of screws too.
Drywall screws or?
Yeah, just regular screw. Yeah. And then when it dries, I pull them out. And then you spray foam the little hole you put in it.
Oh, you don't leave them in then?
It's just a whole.
Sometimes I'll leave them in. I'll push them way past the surface.
Is the back flat? You said you ordered this from a company called
American Foam Products. But depending on where you live, I mean, there's suppliers out there everywhere.
And if you want to do it on the cheap, like Tractor Supply throws chunks away off.
Yeah, that's that 1-pound foam. I really don't like. Most sculptors use the 1-pound foam because it's easy to sculpt, but you can't put that much detail in it, and it's brittle. Like a giant creature like that, I can't use 1-pound foam on him, even though I glue the foam to his steel frame. Once his arm goes back and forth a couple hundred times, it starts loosening itself, and then